Hey guys, it's Brian from Arrowhead Garage, and I know it's been a long time since we've had a Firebird update, but today we're going to show you the update on the 67 Firebird 400 and just where we've gone the last few months. It's been tough. We've been doing a lot of body work. I didn't really feel like that was something that would be entertaining or educational in a sense. It's just a lot of this, a lot of that, a lot of this, a lot of that. So with that, let's get into this update video on the 67 Pontiac Firebird 400. Let's check it out. First, I want to thank Brandon for all of his hard work on this build. He has been every weekend coming over to the house and helping put down the Bondo, do the sanding, getting the primer ready to where we are today. So we'll just jump into this. Here's Brandon putting together the Bondo, getting everything squared away before he puts that hardener in. And this was Brandon's first time doing Bondo work extensively on a project like this. Looks good to me. Color is good. I was teaching him how just to take it and lightly apply it, kind of push in a little hard, kind of fill in the gaps and get the air bubbles out. But I said, take your time and just work your way around the car and make sure you get it. So here he is doing the, where we had to cut the top off. Jonathan from Vinyl Village Garage came a couple years back. We cut the old rusty roof off. We welded in that new roof. So here he is just going through and trying to hide those lines where we had to do that welding at. And again, speed it up for you guys. It's been a process. It's been months and months of doing this. Just on the weekends when we had time, he would come over and what a help. Thank you so much, man, for that. All right, getting this work done little by little. Now, some of his methods may be a little unorthodox, but in the end result, I think you'll see they kind of came out just the way we wanted them to. Did an awesome job there. Get it going. I told him, go around and feel. Use your hand, and you're going to feel the little dimples. If you find any highs, go ahead and put a circle around it and get them. But just take your time and go through the entire car and the bird and just find those low spots. Here's another spot up there where we had to cut that roof in. He's going through and just grabbing it. Now, this is that back fender that when I was taking off the paint, ran into the Bondo here. And I remember the story being told to me that this car was in some kind of fender bender. I assumed it was just the front of the car, but after noticing a few things, the front driver's fender was replaced at some point, and then this big wrinkle back here. So Brandon, instead of using regular Bondo, he is using the fiberglass reinforced Bondo here to get that good and tight and make sure it lasts. The proper way to sand. Hips. You gotta use your hips. Just like that. Proper sanding technique.
The gentle sand.
The long sand. Now, Brandon by trade is a carpenter, so I had to remind him a few times that you're not sanding wood, you're sanding Bondo on a car. So it's an X pattern, not so much a back and forth and up and down type motion. But he did get that Bondo nice and level, and I have to hand it to him. It's turned out pretty good so far. So he takes his time here. This little golf ball sized dent back there where the 400 badge goes. Getting it together. Kind of told him when you hit metal like that, that's a high spot, buddy. And then here we are. Go ahead and sanding off that back side there. Done a little bit on the side over here. We just kind of randomly shot video because we knew it was going to be hours and hours of video to pull this all together. We didn't want to record every single thing we did, but we want to give you guys an overview and an update on where the Firebird is right now. Here he is late at night working with a spotlight in the garage, trying to get stuff done while me and the mama were sleeping. And it's just going through, getting it done as he can. And again, every time I said you hit silver, you hit bare metal, that's a high spot, buddy. So he's learning. He's getting it down together. Very, very, very proud of him. Now this is a spot on the hood. We went ahead and did guide coat, powder guide coat, and I'm kind of teaching him how to use that when we go to do our next spray here on it. And now he went ahead and circled the low spots. And afterwards I told him, you don't need to circle the low spots because they're not going to go anywhere because you can't sand them out. But he is learning and did give me a good chuckle one morning when I came out to see that. There he is trying to sand that down, get it the best he can. I told him, no charcoal. Make sure all that charcoal is gone, and that's when you know you're flat. Here we are on the other side, getting that Bondo in that spot. And again, this is the spot where we had to cut the top off, and Jonathan brought with him some cell panes that we then were able to put in, because you can't just buy the cell pane, you got to buy the entire quarter panel. So luckily, Jonathan had a couple of those cell panes for the car. Now we're doing another sanding, getting all that down. This was a process. Like I said, we only had weekends to work, so it was basically Saturday and part of Sunday to get things done. And at night, just like this, we would go to bed, and he wouldn't. He'd stay up and continue to sand and do body work. Complete blessing that he was able to help us on this build. Here he is learning to do those lines. Told him, do not mess up the body lines. Make sure you keep those body lines nice and straight and sharp. So he was doing his best to get all that done for us. Here's that front fender where it happened, that little fender bender. I had already repaired this. I'm not quite sure why he came back, but apparently he said he found something. So I said, go for it, dude. Hand it. Now we're going through our second attempt on getting it flat in the hood. As you can see, those are the spots that he has. He's going to sand those down really good for us. And again, this is just time, and he actually said he enjoyed the sanding. It gave him quiet time. He put on his music and was able to relax and just let things go. Now this bottom part here, this is where I found all that rust, and we had to cut this little section out and weld in some fresh metal. And we also put on that fiberglass Bondo there. It was hard to sand. That stuff was hard to sand. So he asked if he could use a sander. I said, absolutely. So he went ahead and got to this, put the fan right there to keep all that dust out of him. But not a bad job for that sander. I was pretty impressed with what he did on that. Totally impressed, actually. Job well done. Right on. Yep. And that's going to look very good. Very, very good job. Getting back to the sander, trying to get some of this, speeding things up a little bit. Getting it done for us. So oddly enough, I found the most dents and things was on the tail of the bird. So you can see quite a lot of Bondo, more than what I was anticipating. But whether or not my brother backed up into things, or who knows what happened. Once we were all done, we took the car outside and we sprayed it down to get all the dust off of it before we put down our high build primer. Just walking around the car. Listen to that engine. Gotta love that. So Brandon just simply took the water hose, walked around, sprayed it all off. Our goal was just to spray it down, not to get it perfect, but just to get the majority of the sanding dust off the car before we started in on wiping it down with rubbing alcohol and getting it ready for a primer. All right, here we are. The bird is in. We got it all wiped down. It's nice and clean. See, we have the garage door shut. We got the fans blowing, and we started shooting 2K primer on it. Now, this was the first time Brandon had ever used this type of spray gun and painted a car before. So letting him have this, getting the feel for it, was kind of what I was after. And as you can see, he's doing an excellent job. Now, this was that purple Harbor Freight gun that Louie over at First Generation Garage suggested I take the tip and bore it out to 2.0 to lay down that primer, and we did. And of course, towards the end of the process of laying down 2 coats, the gun began to get clogged up. So you'll see here in a minute where Brandon has to get kind of close just to get the primer down and onto the car. Look how nice this hood is turning out with that coat of primer on it. And then you can start to see more defects, which again, we're going to go back through a second time, do some more body work before we put one more coat of primer down, and then we can start laying down color. And notice the attention to detail. I told him, get in there, get down. You're going to have to hit those lower rockers. He definitely took what I said and listened, and pretty proud of the kid. Back to that notorious bumper. Even with all the time we spent on the bumper, we did find a few imperfections, which again is going to happen. Here we go with that second coat. We're laying down, getting it together. By this time, Brandon said he'd really gotten the hang of how the gun worked and everything else. And here's our final after 2 coats of high build primer. Take a walk around the bird. Just a few little spots here and there, but for the most part, she is straighter than the day she came to see us. Look at this. All one color again. Now, the paint gun we're going to be using is something different than the Purple Harbor Freight gun. We'll tell you about that later. But here it is. This is just an update on the bird and how far we've come in the last several months. Not been a lot of videos, only because there wasn't much to show you. It was a bunch of labor-intensive sanding and primering and Bondo and more sanding and more sanding and more sanding. But the bird, she's just about ready for paint. Went ahead and did all the little extra pieces we had to do, like the cowl. All right, guys, so as you can see, the car is now an all 2K high build primer. We're gonna do our final sanding on it, and once that's all done, we'll have another video on putting down Summit's single stage performance red paint. Now, Mike over at Lake and Lodge Garage used Summit single stage paint on his 67 Firebird. I was impressed with what I saw, so I went ahead and ordered some of this. Now, they didn't give this to me. They're not a sponsor. They're not a promotion. I spent my own money on this. This would be a great review on the paint for you guys if you're looking for a budget. 1 gallon should do the entire car. If we need more, I'll let you know. But for 1 gallon and 1 gallon of the hardener in the mix for about $200 with shipping and everything else and tax, can't beat a $200 paint job. So we'll see what we can pull off with that. So make sure to stay tuned. Always check out our Firebird Friday live at night. That starts at 5:30 p.m. Arizona time. That's 7:30 p.m. East Coast time. Join us. You're going to check on Jonathan from Vinyl Village Garage, Louis from First Generation Garage, and Mike from Lake and Lodge Garage. The 4 of us get together on Friday nights. We have a great time talking classic cars, Pontiacs and Firebirds, and we also answer your questions. So make sure you tune in tonight at 5:30 Arizona time and check on us 4 crazy Pontiac guys talking about classic cars. And I think tonight's episode's on wiring, which I'm pretty good at, like awesome at. So with that, I'll see you guys next time, and maybe next time you see the bird, she'll be performance red, just like my brother KJ wanted. So I'll see you then. Have a good one, guys.